Welcome back. Today we have a Wells Gardner U2000, and this one's going to be quite the adventure to try and figure out. And I say that because this was sent to me as well as being dead, like the previous video, the K7400. We have the U2000, and after this I have a U5000 that were all three of these are from the same person. And all three of them I was told were dead. Well, the 7400 ended up being fine, just had a bad R811, a couple lifted pads. That wasn't a big deal. But this one is much different. I say that, I'll show you what I mean. Of course, our neck board is destroyed like almost all of them are. We're missing our little adjustment knob for this pot. And you can see whatever's going on here with our heat sinks. And then our green transistor here is not, I mean, all of the traces are intact, but it's just not good. But we can fix that. This one's already been attempted to be fixed. This one here isn't as bad, but it's loose. So typical neck board issues, but nothing that can't be resolved with some rework. But the real problem is the main board. Let's get this disconnected here. Okay, get that out of here. All right, and let's get rid of our remote board so it's out of the way. Gosh, dang. Man. Anything broken or messed up on the remote board? Doesn't appear to be, so that's all right. Okay, now this, it's complete except for R104. Our main B+ resistor here is missing. Now, I don't know if I have any of those, so I'll have to do some searching and see if actually we're in luck. I got a parts U5000 here and we have a resistor, so that's good. All right. I didn't bother to look earlier when I was checking this out. So we're good there, but the R104 is missing. So I got robbed for something. We have this R823 is smashed over, but it looks like somebody has done some replacing of parts here because this is not an original resistor here. The factory doesn't install these resistors this way. Somebody has installed this resistor afterward. And then the same thing back here. R303 here by D302. This is absolutely not an original R302. R303, I'm sorry, R303. R303, D302, I keep mixing those up. But this is absolutely not an original R303. Somebody has replaced this at some point in the past. And it's supposed to be 1.2 ohms, and I can see here that it's marked 1.2 ohms. But yeah, that's not original. This one here is not original. This is bent over flat, don't know why. We got this capacitor that's kind of bent over. And some caps have been changed. We can see here that this capacitor has been replaced, but this one has not. This one here has been replaced. This one here has been replaced, but this is an original cap here. So, along with these. So I'm not going to cap it until we're done with getting it up and running. And somebody I think's been doing light bulb tests because our jumper here for the B+ is all kind of wonky and out of whack. So I think someone's been, well, I take that back because the solder looks original. Well, someone has used, you can clearly tell someone's used some braid on these two pads here to take the solder away to do some testing. So I don't think they're going to get very far. And the reason that this is dead is because the board is cracked. And if we look here, you can clearly see the board is cracked all across here, from this trace all across here, and it's absolutely cracked and broken. I've been doing some painting, so sorry about the dirty fingers there, but the board's cracked all across here. So I think this is the cause of our issue, because the LA, I always forget, the LA 7850 chip here, this is has some regulation for power as well. I don't really want to say power regulation, but if this chip is bad or shorted or not functional in the circuit, it'll affect Q703, which will in turn cause the chassis to be dead. So we're going to have to replace R104. We're going to have to go through and do all of our testing for everything on the board that we normally test for, the power supply chip and the voltage regulator and our HOT. And now that I look at this, the whole heat sink here is bent over. I am not sure what's going on here, but if you look here, the whole heat sink, instead of being straight, is bent over. I've never seen that before. Our filter cap is not straight, like the Leaning Tower of Pisa. Look at that heat sink. It's completely bent over. That's insane. I've never seen that before. And let's get rid of this here. I want to say it may have been like that from the factory, because there's no evidence of this being messed with. This is not broken. The solder joint's not broken. It's intact. But that's this right there. That's this. So nobody has bent it, and it hasn't come out of the solder joint, and it appears to be flat right here. I mean, you don't, well, no, it's kind of dipping in here on the edge. But that's original. I don't think anyone's messed with that. There's no evidence of anybody doing anything with this. And the other end here is kind of the same way. That's very odd, but we'll have to see if I can remember to fix that, because I'm probably going to forget. So lots of interesting things going on here. But I guess what we'll first do is we'll replace R104, and then we'll go through and fix all of our cracked traces, and then we'll go through and do all of our testing, light bulb test, everything that we normally do. Why is there a capacitor on the bottom side of this? That's not normal. There's a capacitor here. That's across the same legs as this capacitor, this film capacitor. Why is that like that? I'll have to look. I've got another U2000 sitting right here. This is the one off the tube that I use for testing these things with. And as you can see, there's no capacitor there. So why did they do that? Obviously, I don't know if this is the same revision. 4G-R25F. This is a 4G-R25H. So there's different revisions of these boards here. You can see here, Wells Gardner Manufacturing 25-inch 2000. And it's a U4 Bravo Romeo 25 Hotel. This one is Wells Gardner Manufacturing 25-inch 2000 U4G R25 Foxtrot. So that's what when I mentioned, like the R811 in the last video, it depends on which revision of your board, whether it's 50K ohm or 75 or 100. Different revisions of the board will give between 50 and 100. So that's an example. This is a revision Hotel, well, this is a revision Foxtrot. But there's no capacitor there, so I don't understand what's going on there with that. But I guess what we'll do here first is we'll get this R104 installed, and then we'll work on fixing these, and then inspect anything else that might be amiss. Trying to fix the heatsink will be a bit of a challenge, because I have to remove all this solder and remove all this solder, because I can't heat this up. It's a big pad and a large plane and a large trace, so heating this up to a point to where I can successfully bend this over, I would also have to do the same to this. I'll probably have to rework these separately and get all the solder off and then try and flatten it out. But that's not needed for testing and work and trying to fix this. So we'll get this installed, we'll fix our traces, and then go through and see what else we can find. But but I need to cut away here for a moment because I got to take care of something. So I'll be right back, and then we'll work on getting this figured out and go from there. Okay, so let's first measure this R104 and make sure that it reads 10K or somewhere around there. Because I always say the same thing, these can read anywhere between 10K and 13K. In any case, it should work. And see, there you go, there's almost 14, but it's still going to work for what we need, so we're going to use it. Let's go ahead and, oh, of course, every time I forget to turn the soldering iron first. And I'm going to get my fan going here. I need to invest in a fume extractor, but at least the fan here to my right blows all of the fumes across this way over and out of the way of me, so it's better than having no fan at all and sitting here breathing all the solder fumes in. The problem with the fume extractor is it's even louder than my fan here, and I don't have anywhere on the bench here to set one up. So that's why I haven't really gone and invested in an extractor yet, but I probably should with all the work I'm doing. But I got no wife or kids I know of, so I'm not too worried about it. And by that I mean, you know, sticking around for their benefit. Okay, now let's get rid of this nice and easy right out. Boom. Okay, we'll set this back down here on the pile of junk. Okay. So I gotta wonder if maybe this got cracked and whoever worked on it didn't notice that the board was cracked, and they tried to repair it, changing some caps, doing some work to it. Wasn't able to figure it out, so they just robbed. It became a parts board, probably, I don't know. But looking at it, it appears to be that this is the only missing component. So let's get this in here. And that pad's lifted, of course it is. They all are. There we go. This. We'll hold this in place. See if we can. There we go. Okay, that looks bad. Let's take care of that real quick. Okay. Okay, R104 is installed. Solder joints look good. I guess it's time to work on these cracked traces. I don't see any more. Let's go ahead and I'm almost out. Let's see. This one is empty. This one is empty. That's all I got left on that one. And this is all I have left on this one. So we're about out. I guess I can go the old school method of scraping, but I prefer this method. Because it works pretty well, as you can see. Let's try and get the glare. So yeah, I mean, that works pretty well. And just to show you how quick and easy this is, you saw there the fiberglass pen made quick work of that. And then all we have to do is I'm going to add a little flux here. Normally you don't have to do this, but I'm going to do it anyway just for the sake of doing it. We're going to add a little flux here. If you can even, sorry, you can see what I'm doing there. Just a little flux paste. You don't need a lot. A little goes a long way. And there we go. And we just add our joint. A little too much there. There we go. That's good. I got too much on there. There we go. And that's it. So let's just clean it up a bit here real quick. And there you go. I mean, it's just, this is the method that I prefer to use when doing stuff like this, as opposed to installing bodge wires. I mean, that works just as well, and it should be nice and secure and stable and prevent this from having issues in the future unless you really wrench on it. But I think that works pretty well, and you can see the results there. It's pretty good. So I now have to go through and do that for the rest of all this, and it shouldn't take too long, and then we can do our light bulb test and go through. Actually, I'm going to go through and make sure that nothing else is amiss on this, and then we can do that. Set this aside for now, and let's see. So we had these three. Nothing's across here. We'll have to hit up this trace there. So let's see if we can kind of bend these out of the way here. Okay. Let's make sure that this one's good. Oh, that looks like, all right, let's fix that. That's better. Still looks like. Okay, continuity mode. Let's make sure that this trace here is good. Yep, okay, this one. Alright, let's see how I'm running low. This is all I have left. So let's I think we need, yeah, one more right here. Alright, I think we barely made it under the wire. So now all of my, oh crap. I only had 3 of these and now they're all empty. So I'll have to get some more. Get rid of all of that. So there now, as you can see, I think that's all of our joints that were cracked that we need to take care of. These three turned out real nice. Let's see if we can make all of these look just as nice. So let's get the flux out. See if we can work some magic here. Now ideally you just get liquid flux and put that on here, but I haven't gotten around to getting any liquid flux. I just use this paste and it works just fine. But I kind of at some point I'm going to have to get a hold of some actual paste. I'm sorry, actual liquid flux is going to work a bit better. But this will work fine as well. Okay. Let's see if we can work some magic here. That looks good. That looks good. That's good there. There we go. Was that it? Let's see, we had these three over here. This one was okay, this one was okay. We got that, we got this, that one. I think that's it. Let's do a bit of cleaning and inspecting. Okay, that looks a bit sloppy there. Let's reflow that. Well, I guess it's going to have to stay looking sloppy. That's better. So there we go. We have anything touching? Nope, that seems all okay. Nothing there. I think we're good, boys. I think we're good. Let's do some continuity testing. Okay, so this one should go from here. Actually, let's go right here. From there, and it goes up here and disappears off camera. Should go right here. Alright, so that joint is fixed. This one goes to here. So that joint's fixed. This one goes through to here. That joint is fixed. And we're okay on the ground plane. Then we come over to here, which should come down to here. Yeah. Then we have our ground plane there. This point here goes to here. That's good. And this point goes around through to here. Okay, I think that's it. So let's do some more inspection, some quick inspection here, and see if there's anything that we would need to rework before we try to turn it on. We got a lot of oxidation and stuff going on over here. You can see we got some oxidation, maybe, you know, something was leaking and it was eating away these traces. Look how oxidized these header pins are for the video. But that won't keep it from operating or powering up, so I'm not worried about it at the moment. Nothing appears to be bridged or cracked. It does need a lot of reflow work in the power supply section here. I don't see any, even the power points here are oxidized as well, but they're not cracked, so I don't see anything immediate we got to take care of before we attempt to power it. So that being said, let's do some quick testing and verify that everything is working. We'll go to diode mode and we'll test our I'm upside down here. I lost my orientation. Okay, so let's test our HOT. HOT is good. Voltage regulator. I think it's 1.0. Yep, and voltage drop, yep, 0.5, so voltage regulator is good. We know our R104 was 13 ohms. What is it now? So in circuit it's the same, 13.9 ohms, that's fine. Switch mode power supply chip, we should have, let's see, voltage drop, and voltage drop, and 1.5, and around the same 1.5 to 1.7. Hey, how about it? Hachi machi, okay. Well, I guess Q703, make sure it's good. If Q703 is good, I say we give it a try. It should be, what was it, 1.0? 1.2, close enough. Then our voltage drop over to here. Yep. Well, I think we are at a point now where we can try to do our light bulb test. If that passes, we can set our B+, make sure it's around one, with using, like I said before, using a 23 watt LED bulb like this, with the B+ reading 124, it should be right at 117 when we use an actual picture tube. But with everything reading okay, I didn't see anything that needed reworked. I didn't see any bad joints. I didn't see any cracked joints. I didn't see anything that was lifted obviously bad. And we still need to fix our heatsink, but that's the last thing to do. And everything tested okay as far as being able to power. And we got our inductor is there. Diodes are in place. Nothing's missing. This was the only missing component that I saw. I don't see any bulging caps. No missing caps. Okay, well, let's get the light bulb and see what we get. Let's leave this here for volts DC. And oh, I need to lift out the jumper here first. This guy right here. And it's out. I kind of mangled it, but no big deal. We'll get it back in. Okay, so we clip onto that for our light bulb, and then we'll clip onto this again for our positive to read our B+. And then we'll use this one to hold here for our ground. Alright, so now all we gotta do is plug in our power. Where's my bulb? Okay, let's turn our fan off so something blows up. We'll hear it and see it. Not that it would affect sight, but it'll affect sound. Okay, I think we are ready. So let's turn it on and see if anything happens. 1, 2, 3. And we have B+ generation. Let's put it under load and see what it reads. We got our ground, and here we go. Does it work? It works, and we have 125. So we should be right around 117 or 118 on our actual B+. Well, how about that? So, we'll turn it off. Let's discharge it. Kaboom. All right, let's get it on a tube, see what happens from that point. Just like that, we're hooked up to the tube, ready to go. I have the meter set up and ready to read our B+. On the K7400, it's the test point 202 is right there, but on the U2000, it's actually right here next to the B+ resistor. Its test point 202 is right. That's hard to see. Let me take this off here. It's right there, test point 202 B+. You can hook onto that or the leg of the resistor, but we'll just go right to the test point. So, and we have our remote board ready. We have our test pattern generator running, and that's not good. I just realized it's on. I think I may have left it on from yesterday. I bet the battery's dead.
Gosh darn it. Well, you know, the whole purpose of this is just to see if it even turns on. Let's see if it even turns on and works. If it does, then I'll have to probably just hook up an actual PCB. I think I left this on all day, or all night, overnight from last night, working on the 7400 prior to this one. That's not a big deal, I have batteries. Anyway, alright, so let's, no further ado. I did not do anything with the neck board. As you can see, I did kind of try and space them out so they're not at least touching each other, as well as the resistors, but I did not do any work to the neck board. I want to see if this works the way that it is. So we're just testing to see if it even powers up, and if it does, what our B plus is set to. I'm going to guess around 118 with it being 125 versus 124, but it's 118. Everything tested good, so in theory, if we don't have anything else cracked that I didn't find, it should power up, assuming caps are good and everything. So let me actually need to turn off my light here. There we go. And let us see what we get. 1, 2, 3. Hey, it powered up. Imagine that. But we're at 120. Oh man, and we got an odd... Yeah, it's dead. Well, had an odd kind of high-pitched whine going on there. Not used to hearing that. And we were at 119. 119 is actually okay. It should be 117, but 119 is okay. So let's hook up an actual board here. What do I want to use? Let's just hook up this Arkanoid board here. I got this Arkanoid conversion bootleg thing going on here. And let's make sure that we are centered in the connector. Not really. Let's go slide that way a bit. Okay. So now let's see what we get with an actual board hooked up. 1, 2, 3. We're still at 120. That's a bit too high, but it should work. And let's see. There's nothing on the screen. There is nothing on the screen. So let's do contrast down. Brightness down. Whoa, that's weird. Look at that. Oh, you missed it. It flashed a white image there for a moment. Let's turn our flyback up, see what we get. Flyback is all the way down. Flyback going up does nothing. Let's put our flyback roughly there. Screen pot is adjusted. Brightness all the way up does nothing. Contrast all the way up does nothing. Well, we have power. We have B+. It is operating. Oh, you know what might help? You know what might help? A video signal. Oh, imagine that. That's why this is the amateur channel. How about that? I wonder what happens now. Here we go. It's making a different high-pitched noise. And we still have no video. Brightness down, contrast down. Contrast and brightness do absolutely nothing, and the flyback is turned up about I'd say, not quite a quarter, a little past a quarter inch on the screen pot. So we should have something, and we have nothing. Do we have even heater voltage? Yes, we have heater voltage. That is making a terrible high-pitched noise. Well, we have nothing. So, brightness and contrast make no adjustment. Flyback makes no adjustment. I did have some kind of... Let's turn power off while I look at the screen and see what happens. See, we have something there. But I don't know what's going on here. Alright, well, it's no longer dead. I need to go through and inspect and see what I can figure out. Maybe there's a couple of more bad traces. Maybe I'll throw a cap kit on it, rework the neck board, do some reflow work, and see if I can figure out anything else going on here. So I'll cut away. When I come back, I'll have all the cap kit done, the reflow, all the rework, everything ready to go to test again. And we'll see if I can, let me see if I can adjust the B+ here, because it should be down to 117. Is this even adjustable? It doesn't have glue on it. Yes, I can adjust it. Let's go a little bit. Oh, you can't even see. Let's go a little bit this way. Let's turn it back on. There we go, 117. Let's bring it down to a little closer to. There we go. So B plus is now good. 117.5. I'm happier with that, but we still have no change. Can we coin up the Arkanoid? Yes, we can. So Arkanoid's working fine. Let's coin it up again. It's a bit loud. Wow, okay. And we have a good video source, so we're still 117.5, and we have nothing. Brightness maxed, contrast maxed, and we have shut up, Arkanoid. And I have flyback turned up, so something is very wrong. And if I shut off the monitor, we can see it does produce something. So I'll go through and do some rework and some testing and see what I can find, and we'll test again in one moment. All right, real quick, I'm cutting in here before I really did anything. I have found the problem already. Believe it or not, this is the original neck board for this chassis that I'm working on. You can see it's still the same one that I had before. So I thought on a whim, I thought, I wonder if it's something with the neck board because of how bad this is, the condition this is in. And this chip here is responsible for encoding and decoding the RGB. Give or take, it's a very vague description of what this does, what that chip does. I think it's U500, yeah, U500. So I was skeptical of this neck board being causing the problem or being a contributing factor. So I grabbed the neck board off of the K7400 that belongs to the same person that this belongs to, that I fixed in the video prior to this one, and I put that neck board on here. All these neck boards are all completely interchangeable with each other. There's, P719i. I think this one is also P719i, but there's J, there's H, I think there's K and L. So there's all different types of revisions of this neck board, but they're all interchangeable with each other. But you can see how this one does not have the Q501. It doesn't have a capacitor there along with it, while this one does. So there's different versions. Even though they're both 719i, they still have different differences. So you can interchange all these to your heart's content and should be fine. But so I have the K7400 from the previous video neck board on here, and check this out. When I turn this on, it sounds completely normal, powers right up, no high-pitched noises, and we have an image. So there you go. So it turns out that the chassis is actually fine, and we have successfully repaired it. The problem is the neck board, so now we're going to have to venture into what is causing this and see if we can figure it out. So stand by for that. I still need to do all the cap kit and reflow work and stuff on this, but at least we have repaired this successfully, and there's nothing else apparently wrong with it. We just had some cracks to repair, and a missing R811. So that was fairly easy to get going again. And I've never seen anything like this before, where this is keeping it from giving an image at all. Very odd. So let's see if we can crack the, no pun intended, the solution to this, and we'll see what we figure out. So stand by one moment. Alright, so I've gone through and tested every resistor, every diode, every transistor, every component, and nothing tests bad. I can't find anything wrong with this, but I do have some odd readings on the blue, or green, I'm sorry, this is green. The green transistor is reading very oddly, so we may have green issues. If we get this running, we may have green problems, because it's not reading the same as the red and the blue. Actually, I think it's, let's see, red. I think it's red, green, blue. The red and the blue read identically, but the green is a bit off. So we may have issues. I'm not worried about that for the moment. This won't cause our problem. So I think at this point the U500 chip is the culprit. I used the other neck board that I just showed working on this chassis here as comparative readings, and everything ended up reading the same except for a couple of pads were reading, like on a couple of legs were reading like 430 ohms or something on the working one versus this one was like 150 or so. So I'm going to change this out. I have a little bin here of parts, extra neckboard parts for these series of neckboards. You can see I have extra resistors and heat sinks and pots, and I have another U500 here that I pulled from a parts board that had other major issues. So I salvaged one. So I'm going to take this one out. Actually, so I don't get them confused here, I'm going to actually take a Sharpie here when I get it removed and just mark a big X on here. So then I can put this one in and we'll see if that makes any difference. Also, I don't have a cap kit for a U2000. I've got a couple of cap kits here for U5. I got an older U5000 kit here that somebody gave me from Syracuse Semiconductors that I didn't end up using. So I have an older one here, and I have another one from Arcade Parts and Repair sitting around here somewhere. That's a Neotech. Somewhere in this box I have another one. So I may have to use some of the caps from the U5000 kit. It's not exactly the same, but for all intents and purposes, most of them are the same. So I may have to use this kit along with my bag of miscellaneous ones to kind of piece together a correct kit. But it should work out okay. But for now, I don't suspect bad caps or anything else. I think our U500 is the culprit causing this problem of the no image and the weird noises and all kinds of stuff. So I'm going to change this out and then we'll see where we're at. So when I come back here, that'll be done. I'll have everything back together on a tube and we'll ready to test, and we'll see how it turns out. Okay, actually I lied. I'm going to show the steps here. So I got the old chip out. We're going to put the new one in, and I'm going to solder it in, and then when I come back, we'll have it hooked back up and we'll test and see what happens. Okay, all back together, all original configuration. The new U500 is installed. So we're all hooked up. Anode, neck, yoke, ground, video, power, and remote board. Remote board's here at the ready. I think our contrast and brightness was all the way up, but I'm not going to mess with it for now. Yeah, nothing to it but to do it. Let's turn it on. Count to 3, cross our fingers. 1, 2, 3. Nope. It's still making that high-pitched noise, and yeah, it's definitely not it, because I have noises and sounds coming from this that I did not have with the other neck board. And, well, at least we have something. It's better than what we did have. So this was bad, at least in some way. Now there's something else going on. Maybe the caps are bad. I don't know. Maybe that odd reading on the green transistor is causing this. But now at least we have an image. Brightness is maxed out, contrast is maxed out, and that's all we get. We know we had a good image with the other neck board, so now we have something else going on. Let me see if I can wiggle some stuff around here. Does it make any difference? Nope. Well, I guess I'll throw some caps on this neck board and see if maybe it's something with the caps, because we know for a fact the main board is good. With the other neck board, it works just fine. We have a good picture, so there's something still going on with this. I'll take all the caps out, replace all those, and see if maybe it's a cap issue. It could be the C204. It could be this guy right here. That cap right there causes a lot of problems sometimes too. So I'm going to change out. I'll change out just C204 out of curiosity, because the other caps really don't go bad. They're just like 50 volt, 10 microfarad. So I'm going to change out C204 and see if maybe that's our culprit. See, now it's getting darker and it's making even more weird noises. Actually, you know what? Let me try and adjust H-hold. Oh, see there? Look at that. Oh! Hey! We had an H-hold issue. I never would have imagined that. Why did we not have an H-hold issue with the other neck board? I didn't adjust any of this. All I did was swap the neck boards. Why did we not have an H-hold issue with the other neck board, but we did with this one? That's weird. But we definitely had a bad U500. There's no doubt about that. Because we had no image, nothing at all. in any way, shape, or form with this installed. After replacing it, we have this image. So there's no doubt we had a bad U500. But now we have nothing, we have no red and we have no green. And let's turn brightness and contrast back down all the way. Let's turn up our flyback again. Because remember, I had the flyback, I turned the flyback up to 100% and we didn't have anything on the screen. So I think this was absolutely bad. There's no doubt about it. So let's turn our flyback up again. There we go. See, now I get an image with the flyback up. So let's turn it down to roughly there. And brightness, it's going to have to be right there. Contrast. Yeah, we got right to the point to where it starts bleeding. There. Focus. There we go. Look at that. Bada bing. Well, now it's coming down to seeing why we don't have any red or green. And like I say, I was getting odd readings from the green. The red actually checked fine. And a way you can tell whether or not your transistor is working is you can touch it with your fingertip. So if it's heating up, it's working. If it's not heating up, it's dead. So blue is nice and hot. Red is ice cold. Green is ice cold. So both of our red and green are ice cold. Blue, ooh, god damn it. You knew that was going to happen. Blue is hot. Green and red are ice cold. So we have two bad transistors. And that's fine because I have a whole stock of brand new transistors for these neck boards. So let's change out our blue and our red transistor and we'll call this repaired. It's odd though. I don't know why the H-hold did not need to be adjusted with the other neck board, but I put this one on after changing U500 and I did. Either way, that's interesting. So I'm glad we figured that out. But now see, it's getting brighter. So we definitely need caps because we're not staying stationary with our brightness. See, now brightness is completely turned all the way down and it's still there. So as we have this running, it's getting brighter. And it's not a tube issue. Brightness back up. Well, brightness was, okay, all the way down. Brightness needs to be there. So yeah, we've got some pretty severe issues here. So let me change these two out. And I'm just going to change these two out. I'm not going to do all the rest of the work. That'll be the off camera before I get it ready to go back to the owner. This is just a video to get this up and running and working, and all the other stuff I just do off camera. But so yeah, let's change these two transistors out and see if that brings our colors back and how good of an image we can get. So stand by. Okay, so I found something interesting here. Got these transistors out, and I still think the green one is bad because when I read from the base to the emitter on the green one, I'm getting 0.7 voltage drop when it should be 0.6. This one's 0.6, this one's 0.7. So I still think the green one is bad. But I think the reason why we had no red was because we had a broken trace. When I desoldered these, the pad actually came right off. So we had a broken trace here and a broken pad. We had a broken pad here and a broken pad here. So even if the green transistor was good, I still think we wouldn't have had green because both the red and the green had a busted pad here. So the transistor for red actually reads good, but it wasn't working in my the theory here now, or actually technically the correct term is hypothesis. Until we fire this up and it works, then it'll become a theory. A theory is a proven hypothesis. As in the theory of gravity. We have gravity. It was a hypothesis. They proved it became a theory. So anyway, so the hypothesis here is that the red wasn't working because I found when I desoldered this, the red pad was busted off the trace. And even if the green was working, or even if the transistor was good, I should say, I don't think it is. We'll change it. I'm going to change both these out anyway because I have them out. Might as well put new ones in. Because it was not working, I think it was the same thing. I think we had two broken pads or busted pads off traces. So I have to fix that. And that's all the work I'm going to do for the video. I'm going to get this fixed up to at least to a point to where it's operational and working and there's nothing wrong with it. And then, like I say, I'll do all the rework and reflow and further inspection and cap kit and all that stuff off camera, because the whole purpose of this is just to get it working for educational reasons. And then all the other stuff, not really any reason to show all that. So let's get some new transistors in here, get this stuff fixed, and then I'll show it off here, all repaired, and then we'll try it out. So let's see. All right, actually real quick, I got all the rework done. You can see I have these evenly spaced and they're sitting nice, and all of these are evenly spaced and sitting nice. And I got all of the other transistors here away from the heat sink so they're not in direct contact. So I wanted to talk about how to properly read these. All of these traces were basically lifted, so I had to do some creative stuff here, and I used super glue to hold them down in place so they're not lifted anymore. I had to scrape away and solder right to the trace and things, so it doesn't look pretty, but it's operational and it looks better than adding a bunch of jumpers, easy for me to say, like component legs and stuff like we used to do. So this was a much easier and quicker way than adding all the jumpers. And like I say, it doesn't look good. It's not meant to be a masterpiece, but it's functional. They're all straight and they're all reading correctly. So I think this will get us going. And U500, like I say, was definitely bad. But I want to show how to read these NIC transistors. So basically, the way this works is, you can see here, let's get this like this, okay. So in circuit, out of circuit doesn't matter. So when you're looking straight at it, when you're looking straight at the transistor, now let's get, these are all my new replacements. I put a brand new one in the red and the green. So, all right, so with your meter and diode mode, the red, your red lead goes all the way to the left, looking straight at it. And to the center, you should have a 0.6 voltage drop, and the other leg should be 0.6 voltage drop. See? 0.646, 0.659. That's a good reading. This was the one in the red position, which, like I say, likely would have worked if I had found that broken trace prior. Now here's the one that was in the green position. Let me show you the difference here. There's our 0.6. Now if we go to the other leg, 0.740. So that is not a normal reading. It should be 0.6 voltage drop to each leg. So for comparison, I'll get a brand new one here, and I'll show you. Brand new one, 0.6 to center, 0.6 to center. So I'm pretty sure this is bad, so I'm going to chuck this in the garbage. But this one actually is probably as good, so I'm going to keep it. So yeah, now it's time to get it hooked up and see what happens. Okay, let's find out if changing those transistors out and reworking the neck board fixed our problem. I did check all the traces and make sure all the connections were good, so everything is good now on the transistors. So let's see what we get. 1, 2, 3. Okay, power's up. What do we get? Interesting. Looks like we're still missing red, but brightness is, there's the brightness all the way down. Why do I have to keep adjusting? We may have a bad flyback because I have to keep adjusting the screen pot. There it is. So there we go. Now turn brightness back up. And it looks like it has to be left about there. Contrast. Oh no, I've got all colors. It's just they're just weak. Contrast is all the way up. So let's grab our screwdriver here and adjust our... Oh, there is no sub-contrast. This is a U2000. Well, yeah, now we got all our colors. So let's see if we can adjust... It looks like garbage, but let's adjust our red. Hey, there we go. And we have to go down to, well, roughly there. We're still too bright because you can still see some of it. See, it gets brighter. I think we have a bad flyback. Right there. Look at that. That's pretty good. I think we can probably try and put a battery in our test pattern generator and verify that we can get better colors. I guess I'll put my Rampage board, but let's just put the Rampage board back in. I should have done that originally, but we have all of our colors now, so we're making progress here. Let's get the Rampage board in so we can try and do some color adjustments just to see if we can make it look better, and then we'll call this complete. So let's get the Rampage in to see what that looks like. Okay, Rampage World Tour, let's turn this on. This board's got issues, and I don't think it's... Oh, it is booting. Interesting. Okay, H position. And we are... Uh-oh, we definitely have caps. Look at that. Got cap problems, but look at how squished that is. Wow. So, okay, no problem. Cap kit will fix that, but I'm more worried about, does it get worse when I increase height? Well, it gets better. I mean, it's still squished a bit. But if we increase... Okay, so we have... Yes, I know there's audio problems. 123 is usually a bad U2 ROM, but in this case it's not. This board has circuitry problems, see? So we definitely have linearity issues caused by bad caps, but we have vertical height adjustment. As I increase it, it stretches on the top and squishes on the bottom, so bad caps. But we have vertical adjustment, we have H hold adjustment. We know we figured that out already. We have contrast and brightness adjustment. Contrast is all the way up, so whoa. I think we have R811 problems too, because I turned contrast down slightly, and look, we have black and white. So we got R811 problems on this one too. Wow. So that's contrast maxed out. I turned contrast down just a bit, and it's black and white. So yeah, we've got. I'm going to put that's contrast full power. Let's turn it down to roughly there. So much for getting our contrast fixed, or our colors. V hold works. Vertical position works. Width. We have full width control, so that's good. That's about it. So yeah, we have a working chassis now, working system, but it absolutely needs new caps. So now I think I'm going to cap it, do all the rework and the reflow, and come back and see on camera here how much better it looks now that we know that there's capacitor problems. You can see clearly that it's squished on the bottom compared to the rest, and as I increase the vertical height, it stretches on the top and it just squishes the bottom. So yeah, it needs caps, and we have almost no color when I turn the contrast down just a little bit. So I think we have R811 problems. So I'm going to test R811, see what it reads, and we'll go from there. So I'm going to cut away. When I come back, we'll see where we're at that point. Alright, so we got the board disassembled again, neck board off, remote board off, ready for testing and cap kit work and stuff and reflow. But let's test R811. It is this guy right here. If I zoom in, you can see right R811, this guy right here. So that's the cause of our problem, I'm pretty sure. I've not tested it yet. Let's find out. So let's see what it reads. Again, it should be between 50 k ohm and 100 k ohm, depending on the revision of the board. And 0? What about this one, R810? Well, that one reads 2K. Okay. If I go back to R811, nothing. If I turn it around and go to the pad, directly to the pads, nothing. 2 in a row with bad R811? Let's get it out of circuit and test it again. Grab it there. I think it's this one. Come on, there we go. There we have it. It is out of circuit. Let's test it again. Stupid, I need to get a better overhead light here. I'm not sure how I'm going to be able to do this. Well, how close do I really need to be, quite honestly? Let's just zoom back out a little bit. There we go. Okay. Let's test it again here. Out of circuit. Or your little pipsqueak. Get over here. Okay. And out of circuit. It's just as open out of circuit as it is in circuit. 2 in a row with bad R811. Well, I gotta find another solution now. I gotta go through my old school resistor bucket and find another 50K to 100K ohm resistor. So let me do that. I'll see if I can find one. I'll come back and we'll get it installed and test it and see what it reads. Alright, so real quick here, had to get creative. Dumped out my old school container of, my container of old school resistors, and I could only find a 100K ohm and 130K ohm resistor. I couldn't find one, the one that was reading 85 or so from the previous repair. That one was the last one I had that was kind of in spec on its own. So I had to grab a 100K ohm and 130K ohm and put them in parallel, and that dropped it down to, well, you can see here, it's kind of, doesn't look pretty, but it gets the job done. So that's installed in R811. There, you see they're in parallel there. After combining the 100K with 130K in parallel, I now get, let's go one leg to the other. $56, $57, so let's just say 60K ohm. And that's right in between. It's supposed to be between 50 and 100. So when we get to 60K ohm, we'll call that a good success there, a good replacement. So now let's get it all hooked back up. Make sure that we have no further issues, and if we don't, I'll do the all the rest of the work, the cap kit reflow, inspection, and call this one done. I still need to fix this heat sink, but like I say, that'll be somewhat difficult, and it's you know, self-explanatory. You take the solder out here, take the solder out there, flatten it out, resolder it in. So there's not really any reason to show that. But let's just go ahead and get it hooked up. Actually, you know what? No, I'm going to do all the work and then we'll show, because I forgot. I want to verify that replacing the caps fixed that vertical linearity issue where it's stretched on top and squished on bottom. You know, usually you've got caps in this area. This 33 microfarad usually goes bad, or it could be this 50. I think this is a 100 microfarad. I can't recall. You have this one over here as well as this one over there. So any of these caps, this one, this one, this one, this one, or this one could be bad causing that. So let me do all the rework and the reflow and the cap kit, and then we'll come back and then we'll see, because I'm curious to see if the caps will fix that linearity problem. So let's do that, and then assuming that works, then we can call. I'll let it run for a couple hours, but before that, we'll go ahead and call this one done. So let's get all that work done, come back and see how that turns out. Okay, all back together, ready for testing. I got the full cap kit replaced, or full cap kit installed, I should say, all the caps replaced, except for this one. This one here is a 50 volt 1000, but I only had access to a U5000 kit, and on the U5000 this is 50 volt 1500 microfarad. So because this was already changed out previously and I didn't have one to replace it, I'm going to go ahead and consider it okay. But every other cap has been changed. Full cap kit except for that one, full reflow, full inspection. All the rework is done on the neck board. I got the new R811 setup installed, the two in parallel. So we're hoping now to have good colors and our vertical linearity problem to be gone, where it is stretched on the top and squished on the bottom. We're hoping the caps being replaced fixed that. And yeah, I think what we'll do is turn it on now and cross our fingers. Hopefully all the issues have been resolved. I have all the color pots set to center, so hopefully we'll see good colors now. So 1, 2, 3. Okay, fires right up. Oh, see, this will be interesting. You heard one test tone, you think the board's good. One test tone, boom, good. No, it's still, you have to flex it to get it to work. And then you heard it one test tone, But after I flex it and it boots, you'll get 3 test tones, if you're lucky. I don't know. Forget the board issues. But hey, look at that. All right. Colors or contrast is way too high, but we have no more stretch on top, and we have no more squish on the bottom. They're equal. Everything is the same size, and it looks like we have a good image now. Let's turn our contrast down to roughly there. Brightness down to roughly there. Well, hot damn. Well, disregard that. See, I don't even have any damn buttons. That looks pretty good. See, there's the 3 tones. Wow, awesome. Let's adjust our height. I need to get an actual decent screen on here. Okay, so right there and up there we got to do a vertical position. Roughly there, so there's our vertical position, and we have our height right there. Nice. Crush, kill, demolish. Oh, we're too tall now. Let's go back down a bit. There we go. Okay, H position. Move this over to here. And of course I can't see now. Let's turn up our brightness again so I can see what's going on here. There we go. Nope, that's height. This is amateur hour here. Give me a moment. Okay. That is good. Turn our brightness back down. All right. Well, there you go, guys and gals. Perfect. So let's review here. We had a cracked main board. We had a missing R104. We had an open R811. We had a bad U500 chip that was causing no raster. We had bad traces and pads on the neck board for our red and our green transistors. So that, I guess, is 5. And then the green transistor itself was bad, so that's number 6. And then we had linearity problems, vertical problems, because of bad caps. So 7 different issues on this one. Nothing too difficult to figure out, nothing where we had to sit there and scratch our head, but after replacing and fixing all 6 or 7 of those problems, we have a good looking working monitor. There you have it. So of course we need to adjust the colors a little bit, but it's good enough the way that it is, and it's not going to stay on this tube like I always say, so there's no reason to go full 9. So I'm going to leave this run for a couple of hours to make sure our brightness and focus don't drift up and down. I'm betting that it will be just fine. So assuming that it doesn't, and I don't come back here, consider it fixed. Pretty confident that it'll be fine. So let's turn this brightness down a little bit. Hot dog, that is great. So another one resurrected. This was a fun one to do, and stay tuned for the next one, which will be a U5000 for this same person. Again, I was told it was dead. I have no idea. I have not looked at it yet out of the box. So let's see how that one turns out. For this video, everything worked great. So hope you learned something. Thanks for watching. Like, share, and subscribe if you want. And stay tuned for the next one. Okay, a little postscript here is I let this run for 2 hours and it had no problems, ran perfect. This is now absolutely repaired. But I forgot to mention that when I did the cap kit and the reflow, I was able to fix the leaning tower of filter cap. The leaning tower of filter cap is fixed, and so is the heatsink here. I was able to heat the pads and get it to sit nice and flat now. So I forgot to mention that before, so I wanted to kind of put a wrap up on that because I had talked about it so much and then never showed it. So that has been repaired,
and this ran for 2 hours with no problem. You know, I don't really, if something is bad, where a resistor is bad, or cap is bad, or flyback is bad, you're going to see it happen. You're going to see something happen within a 2 hour period. So some guys run these for 24 hours. I feel that's a bit extreme, because in what environment are you going to have this running for 24 hours straight? Unless you're in a casino or a poker hall or a billiard room or something, they're not being ran for 24 hours straight. Maybe 8, 10, 12 hours, but after 2 hours, if something's going to go wrong, it's going to go wrong. If there was something actually bad. So, yeah, I do 2 hours, and I've never had anybody call back or message me and say, hey, I hooked this up, I ran it for 8 hours, and it blew up. Well, you know, that's not really anything that I have any control over, but just want to mention that. So yeah, it's now fully working, and it's ready to go. We're 2 for 2. Hopefully we can be 3 for 3 for this person, and the 5000's up next, so stay tuned.